Lovely. I'm really happy to see so many people. I really didn't expect to see so many of you. I expected some of my students and some of my coworkers, but really not so many. So thank you very much for coming for this talk. And I hope you won't be disappointed. So I'm Kuba, and I'm here to tell you a few stories about House Flipper. The good and the bad that happened for our game over the years. I won't sell you any golden marketing rules. Instead, I tell you stories of what worked and what didn't work for us. But if you came here for some how-to marketing and business development tips, I'll provide you some links by the end of this presentation, so you won't come out of this presentation empty-handed. So let's dive in. The first story, a few words about me. Some of you might have come for this presentation because of Kini, my dog. So I'm in gaming for 6 years now, and it started all with when Maciek, our current CMO, he started out sending keys to beta House Flipper to influencers. And to his very positive surprise, a lot of influencers were coming back to us, and new influencers asking to play the game. So he needed someone to help him, and this is how I started. They were looking for a marketing guy who would come and take some load off his shoulders. And that was me. So I was doing basically anything from marketing to community management and so on. I was even writing press releases. It wasn't too good, but because I'm more technical, but well, that was the beginning. Then I was doing some paid marketing, and I was release manager. And currently I'm sitting in business development position in Frozen District. On the side, I'm also a lecturer at WSEI. Yes, I said it correctly, Krakow. And usually I'm a tryhard. I play a lot of games. I play Pokemon Go since the release. I play Counter-Strike. I have 6,000-7,000 hours in the game, and also Dead by Daylight. So whatever I do, I try to try hard it. Okay, this is the update on Kini. It's past 6 months since how much he grew since I came up with the idea of the stock. So, what is House Flipper? Who knows House Flipper? Hands up. Okay. And who played House Flipper? Okay, my colleagues know. No, you don't. Okay, if you haven't played House Flipper, you can play it for free in Game Pass. It's one of the things we joined, and you can do it. House Flipper is essentially turning this into this. Also, House Flipper, it's like Sims without the annoying humans. Read some of the comments somewhere, and I really like that description. And that became a little bit like our unique selling point. Important disclaimer here. House Flipper hit a niche, and it made it so much easier for us. Honestly, having a good game, it's super crucial. You can do marketing for any type of game, but for the bad one, it will feel like a bumpy road, where for the good one, it will feel smoother and less difficult. So honestly, you need to have a good game to stand out on the market. So I decided to divide this talk into two parts, into marketing and into business development, because I believe these two disciplines are very much interconnected. So, marketing. I will talk about having coherent materials, marketing materials, about our sales strategy, about our approach to influencers and how much they like the game and what happened there, about our campaign around releasing DLCs, and about testing new ideas. Here you can see one of our marketing posters done by really talented Maggie, who's here. Who would have thought that I could be Scooby and look a little bit like me? That was I was really impressed. Yeah, we do these posters like it's fun thing to do, and I don't know. I felt like sharing it here. So, having consistent materials. Let me tell you a bit about evolution of our key art, because this is pretty interesting story. So we started with this key art, and it's nice. You see it, you see House Flipper, you roughly know what the game is about, it might be about. You see the key art in the back, okay, there will be some renovations, okay, sure. But the problem with this key art was that we had a really, really messy PSD file for it. So when it came to preparing key art for PlayStation or GOG or Epic Store or whatever, we couldn't use this. So we had to make a new one. And the next key art was this one. And this one was better because we had our PSD file, and we could prepare all the assets. But it wasn't giving the full idea of what House Flipper is. In the end, we ended up with this one. So here, you have the logo, you have House Flipper, so that gives you a bit of an idea, and you have the asset corresponding to the theme of the game. And now, this is our current key art, and having something that really speaks about your game, what is your game about, like, with the blink of a second, you can understand what the game will be about, and that is super important. So, having that, we decided to have consistency across all the DLCs with the key arts, right? So each DLC has attributes corresponding to the theme of that DLC. You have logo in the middle. You have, for example, in Garden DLC, you have some plants. In Pets DLC, you have some toys and so on. So if someone knows the key art of House Flipper, roughly will know, okay, there is Farm Flipper, Farm DLC. What is it? They might understand it easier. And having all these great assets is very nice, but it would be also nice to find them. For a long time, our assets were all over different folders, and finding them was a nightmare. So imagine there is a partner who's asking me for a trailer, and I'm trying to look to find this trailer, and it's in this folder called Projects. Then you need to go to subfolder House Flipper. Then there is another subfolder Videos. There is subfolder Trailers, House Flipper, and there it might be there, okay? But then our key art will be in folder People, in subfolder Maggie, our graphic designer, then subfolder House Flipper, then key arts, and then you might find it there. But not necessarily, it might be somewhere else. So it was a nightmare. Now we have an order in our drive folders, and when someone asks me for any asset, I go there and I can find it. So this is something that works for us. Basically, we have our network drive, then we have folder marketing, Steam pages, House Flipper, and whatever I need, I go there and I know that there will be these things that I need. And that saved us a lot of time. So takeaway from here would be try to think about these things in advance. Try to put everything in order to save time. We also have graphic documentation with all the information we use to create our assets. So like that, we can assure that our assets, they are, what's the word? They make sense and they are the same thing. So yeah, again, huge shout out to Maggie who joined Frozen District and create all these amazing documentation and a lot of assets for us. So, DLCs. A big part of House Flipper is its DLCs and our marketing strategy around them. So let me start with showing you some data, how House Flipper was selling over the past 5 years. I see that on a lot of these talks, people don't share their sales, so I thought maybe you might be interested in that. So this is how this is sales only of House Flipper, and as you can see, it was selling pretty well over the past 5 years. We had, let me see if it works, nice. So you can see our launch, and usually when people say that, your launch is your biggest sales spike, and then everything will be a slope down and there will be no spikes. Well, in our case, as you can see, there were spikes. About these two, I will tell you a little bit later because it's connected with some things we did. But as you can see, House Flipper was selling consistently over the years, mostly around our releases of DLCs. Yes, here you can see another chart. It shows all the releases, including DLC releases. So, here is House Flipper, and it's pretty interesting. Like, this is a chart that shows revenue. So, our revenue here around the launch was like very similar around luxury DLC, and Pets DLC had even higher revenue than the launch. So that's pretty huge. So in the end, we have a pretty consistent revenue stream from the base game and all the DLCs. An important note here to say is that there are games that have potential to have this long tail. Like, I would say sandbox games, they are like that, but not all the games have this potential. So it's important to be aware of this when you estimate your expected value from your title. So, gathering wishlist around DLCs. Something that was obvious to us, but came as a surprise that others don't do it, even the big publishers, was gathering wishlist for your DLC. Honestly, I don't know why these big publishers, I would love to know this, why they announce the DLC and then they release it 2 weeks later. What we do is, like, we were announcing our DLCs, I don't know, 9 to a year in advance, and through all this time, we were gathering wishlists. A question, who would want to guess how much wishlist we were having on average for our DLCs around the release, apart from Frozen District people? Anyone wants to try and guess? I have some nice House Flipper pins to give away. Okay, it was around 150,000 wishlists. So that's pretty dope, I'd say. And why? I believe it's no. I believe that you have so much easier job to gather wishlists for your DLC than for your base game, right? Because you already have player base, you have already your social media, your community channels. You can post, cool ideas. You can say, "Wow, there will be this mechanic coming to the DLC." So, feel free to wishlist it, and so on and so on. So, what was the outcome of our efforts? Nearly all of our DLCs were top 1 global top sellers on Steam. Even some of them, they were like there for a few days. Some of them, they were like for a day or two. But nearly all of them were global 1 top sellers, which is nice, as you could see on the charts with the revenue. Farm DLC wasn't top 1, but it still sold amazingly. As you can see. So we had some problems releasing Farm DLC. There were some bugs and so on. We had mixed reviews, but the revenue was very similar to Pets DLC. Maybe that was the reason why we didn't reach global top 1 top sellers, because of the bugs, but it also shows that the market is getting even tougher than before. And yes, here I have some notes. It's important to find the sweet spot of what to put behind the paywall in DLC and what to add for free to the base game. So what we do is we put the core mechanics in the base game, and behind the paywall we put the content. So and based on the feedback we're getting from our players, they very much appreciate it. Oh, consistent naming. Another thing worth thinking about in advance is naming your DLCs in a consistent way. So we didn't do it in the beginning, and it caused some confusion among our players and our team internally. So some people were saying, okay, there is Garden Flipper coming out. Is it like a separate game? Is it DLC? And then we had some problems when we were releasing our next DLC, AGTV DLC. So that was like, what should we name it? AGTV Flipper? That sounds a bit off. Or what, Pets Flipper? What the hell? So that was a bit weird. So we've decided to name our DLCs in this way: House Flipper dash DLC name. For example, House Flipper Pets DLC. It helps in many different ways, but one of them is the search engine on Steam. So when someone is looking for House Flipper, now they can see that there are some DLCs to it, right? So if I were some random guy looking for House Flipper because I watched one of my favorite YouTubers, and I see that, oh, okay, they have pets DLC. I love pets. I have one myself. What if I buy these two products together, you know? And on top of that, wow, they're working on House Flipper too. Maybe I added to wishlist. So that's important, and honestly, think about it in advance. And I don't have a chart to prove this, but at some point I was checking our data on Steam, marketing data, and the visits on our store page for the DLCs increased after we made this change, right? And it makes sense, because now more people are seeing the DLCs here. Okay, unique selling points for DLCs. With DLCs, you don't have to sell it to the new players. You sell them mainly to your base game players. So it's important to be aware of this. And some of the unique selling points for our DLCs were: become a gardener, because people hated it that their gardens are a mess and they cannot do anything about it. So we gave them this option and they loved it. Live the AGTV live. Who wouldn't want to be the AGTV presenter, right? It's a very popular TV show in US, in Canada, so even in Poland now. So people were naturally interested in that. Luxurious but modest. So in House Flipper, we didn't have many luxurious, expensive items. So we've decided to build a DLC around it. Adopt a pet. That's in House Flipper. Amazing. Or how about more space? So in House Flipper, for a long, long time, people were begging us to be able to build houses from scratch. And we added this option in Farm DLC. So the takeaway from this would be, honestly, it could be another talk about our community, and maybe we'll do it in the future. But honestly, listen to your community, what they expect from your game, what they would want to see, and add these features, and they will love it. Okay, now moving on to our sales strategy. Yes, have always more than 20% discount. Why? Well, we didn't know about it, but Steam doesn't notify your wishlisters if you don't give 20 or more percent discount on your game. So, did it cost us some? Yes, it definitely did, because a lot of traffic for your game comes from emails. And when we realize it? After first half of the year. So yeah, we also made mistakes. We also have this sales log with all the DLCs and with all the discounts we took part in. So like that, it's easier later for us to decide what which discount we want to give for individual product, right? Because in the end, when you have House Flipper, Garden, AGTV, Luxury, it's really important to keep a log of it and know what would be your next discount. Okay, combining sales with updates. So that is another thing we weren't doing in the beginning. And once I did an analysis to check how we did during sales with and without updates. And it turned out that sales with big updates do better than those without. It's tough to estimate because there is so many different factors coming in. You have this influencer trying your game, you have this sale, you have this time in the year where people are playing less and more and so on. So it's tough to estimate, but I'd say around 10-15% sales we could have more if we were combining it with bigger updates since the beginning. So lesson learned from this one would be to combine discounts with more significant updates. And what we've decided after some time was that we're releasing fewer updates, like for example, 2-3 updates a year, and we build around the whole marketing strategy around it. We contact influencers, we contact some press, and we tell them, listen, there is a big update coming to House Flipper, right? And it makes sense even from a consumer point of view. If you see that the game you wanted to buy is 50% discount, and that they release this huge update about, I don't know, something, you can like you are more willing to buy it because you have two reasons to try it. Sorry, I need to drink some water because it's important, right? Okay, sorry. And we also have log of our updates. It was really helpful when I was doing the analysis I just talked about, but also it can help you understand the reason for some sales spike. So we had a few reasons, like a few incidents when we had like this big spike in sales, and we're like, why is that? Like we don't understand. Is it like a big influencer playing the game, or is it some other reason? So at times, having the list of your updates, it might be important, right? Because then it's easier to understand your data. And our beloved influencers. So one of House Flipper's selling point is that it's easy to stream. You can relax, clean houses, while keeping conversation going with your viewers. And influencers loved it. Would you like to guess what was the biggest House Flipper video on YouTube? How many views did we have?
5 million.
Okay, 5 million. Anyone else? Bigger? 10 million. Okay. Okay, 5 and 10. Okay, sure. So we had Jacksepticeye playing the game, 5.3 million. And then we had Jelly, 10 million. And then we had this one, sorry, I'm not saying their names, 9.6 million. Then 4.5. Then 20 millions. And then even 21 millions. That is the biggest House Flipper video on YouTube. And that is not even English, that's Indonesia video, so it's huge. And the interesting thing is that they didn't do just one video. Most of them, they did the whole series around it. For example, Jacksepticeye, he has like, I don't know, 60, 70 million subscribers. He made like a 10 video series about House Flipper, which is huge. No, okay. So, important thing is fostering good relationships with your influencers. We didn't hard sell House Flipper. We send them short emails with the main unique selling points of the game or key information about the update. Plus, we always send them Steam key. So that is something important. You don't, even if they don't reply to your email, which will happen very often, they might take the key you send them, they might activate the game on Steam, and then they might play it at some point. So always send your Steam key. Put it in the beginning of your email, and maybe that will do the job. We also have like a complex contact hub with our influencers. So we don't send everything to everyone. We tag them in various ways. For example, by the titles they played, like our titles we send them, or whether they reply to our emails and how often they do. So we respect their time. And if someone is like a psycho fan of House Flipper, we send them all the updates we do, and they might play it, and usually they do. But if someone played House Flipper once, we would send them only information about our DLC, for example. So that's important to know. And this hub is like alive. You know, we constantly update it. It's not like we have a list of emails and we just send them everything, and because then that is, I would say, disrespectful. So, yeah, and one more important thing is that we don't send keys to influencers who play only, for example, Roblox or Minecraft or Fortnite, because there's like 99% chance that they will never play your game. Why? Because, you know, their viewers expect only Minecraft or Fortnite, so if they see something else, then their viewers won't watch their video, so then they don't do it. And what's also important about influencers and our marketing around it is that we had nearly no paid collaborations. 99% of influencers who played House Flipper did it for free. So yeah, we're still testing waters in paid partnerships, but my suggestion would be that if you don't have big budget on marketing, don't try to make influencers play your game for free. That's why it's important to have the good game. Oh, I'm testing new ideas. So because House Flipper did so well, we were able to test some new ideas. Some of the things we've tried were Pornhub apps. And this is one of the ads. We had lots of fun trying this. Cute, no? Yeah, so do you think this campaign was successful? Or not necessarily? Well, it wasn't. But we had lots of fun, and now we can come to Digital Dragons and brag about it. And we got this idea to make Pornhub ads because we got inspired by this Polish company, XCOM, I think, yeah. They did their ads first, but what was their, it was a huge success because it was PR success, because I think most of Polish media were talking about this. In our case, our game is family friendly, and we didn't want to do it, to announce it to press because, it could have some bad backlash. I wouldn't want to read emails from angry mothers saying, what is that? Another thing we tried was a promo video with Viva la Dear Click. So we wanted to test how this type of advertising can do. We paid quite a bit of money for this video, and well, when it comes to sales, it didn't do too well. We didn't see much of a spike. But, well, our community reacted very positively to it. They said that we have, we distance ourselves and, that they had a good laugh watching it. And important thing to say here is that even a paid collaboration isn't a guaranteed success, So it's not like, yeah, you make this collaboration with this big influencer or channel, and then that will provide you a huge spike in sales. Honestly, we didn't see any spike. But it was fun, and now I can tell you that it not necessarily will work for you. Instead, this video, it's a cool song about House Flipper. We got it for free. He's a cool guy, and he decided to make a song about House Flipper, and it did twice as good as the previous video. Okay, do you remember when I mentioned earlier that we started connecting updates with discounts? Around our April Fool's Day updates, we realized that it's important. So, yeah, once upon a time, Kuba, another Kuba, who's actually now the game director of House Flipper 2, he had some spare time, and he decided to try something, to do something fun in the game. So he exchanged the model of the hammer in the game with a shotgun. He added some particles, some effects, some sounds, and for April Fool's Day, the players, the hammer was exchanged with this. And we, in marketing team, we decided to create a small campaign around it. Some players didn't like it, but most of them did. They had a laugh, we had a laugh, so we said, what if we try it again? And we did. This time, we created a house on the moon. This time, better prepared. We knew in advance that we want to do it. We prepared a sale on Steam. We switched on the visibility round. Influencers got an update. They got graphics, what will be included in this one, what, Moonhouse on House Flipper, who did that, what, I want to try it out. So the benefit of this was that we had a big, our sales skyrocketed. Influencers came back to playing House Flipper, and players loved it. So, yeah. So, again, in 2022, we did it again. This time we exchanged the environment to an island, and we recreated Kame House from Dragon Ball Z. Yeah, we did this house. It was lots of fun for us. Again, influencers loved it. Players loved it. We made a lot of Easter eggs in this house. Our sales went up again. And with all these updates, we were showing our players that we care about the game, that we're still there, and that we keep supporting it. Okay, so now the part about business development. Here is another our poster with Maciek and all the others. So yeah, business part. Here I want to tell you a bit about when we increased our price and what happened there, about testing franchise sale, about daily deals, taking part in subscription models, bundles, and offline events. I know that the previous talk was about offline events, but I try to summarize it with one slide. We'll see how I do. So, price increase. At some point, we decided to increase the price of House Flipper. We thought the game is on the market for the good 4 years now, and it received lots of updates. You know, the situation on the market has changed, and to back it up, we also knew that our reviews, they went up from around 70% around the release to 93% now, so we knew that players like the game. So what? We increased the price from $20 to $25. Guess what? Nobody even noticed it. Maybe there was like 1 or 2 comments like saying, oh, you increased the price, but no negative comments. The number of copies decreased, but the total revenue increased. So yeah, maybe that is something to consider for your game at some point. Be careful though. We did the same thing for our other title, and the sales, the revenue decreased drastically. That is most probably because players believe that the game doesn't provide value of equivalent of $25. So yeah, it can be double-edged sword. Did you know that on SteamDB you can check when the price changed for different games? So if you're wondering about this, whether you should do it or not, you can come here, you can check how prices were changing for different games and, you know, for similar games and whether it's worth it. Okay, franchise sale. So another thing we tried was franchise sale. So once upon a time, I was reading this really interesting article about a franchise sale of 11-bit studios. And I thought to myself, let's do it. Like, it was such a successful for them. They were like really advertising it, that it's a cool thing to do. So why wouldn't we do it for House Flipper? Half a year later, we arranged it with Steam, and these are the results. Do you remember the 2 big spikes of House Flipper sales? These are our 2 franchise sales in 2022 and 2023. Pretty big spikes. And here. And usually that's true. You know, like that the launch of your game is your biggest spike, like the biggest spike, and it won't happen again. But House Flipper is the exception, it seems. Daily deals. Quickly about daily deals. We tried it once, and here are the results. How it did in comparison to Halloween sale and our custom sale we did earlier. Pretty nice. What's interesting about deals, though, is that you reach new audience with it. This CN color, I think, light blue, is the traffic from the homepage. So that means that you reach brand new audience with when you have your daily deal. And maybe that can be a part of your marketing strategy, you know? If you have big update, you want to test whatever, you know, you can. It's important thing to be aware of. Okay, subscriptions. Wow, I feel like I'm rushing through this. I hope you might have some questions. Let's see. Subscriptions. So in 2021, we were a part of November's edition of Humble Bundle Choice. We were afraid for a long time that it might cannibalize our sales on Steam, but, well, it didn't. And this is the result. So, you know, these spikes, custom sale, Halloween sale, and this is the beginning of Humble Bundle Choice. No, like, there's no, you know, this spike down, like, you know, sales were consistent. So if you're wondering if you should join some subscription, maybe you should. Another thing we did was Game Pass. For a long time, I was thinking, well, House Flipper sounds like a really cool game to add to Game Pass, you know, like, because its replay value is replayability is huge, so maybe Xbox would be interested in this. And sometime later, it happened. For a given fee, we joined Game Pass, and it did great. Our DLC sales increased significantly on Xbox. And just the first day, we had over 500,000 people playing House Flipper, which is huge. And what's also interesting is that there were a lot of people who were saying, House Flipper is not my type of game, I wouldn't play it. But then, since it's for free in Game Pass, they did try. And then I was seeing tweets from these people, and they were saying that they really, really like it. So our player base increased a lot thanks to this. Important thing here is that we joined Game Pass, I think last year? Was it last year? No, earlier? Yeah, last year. So after quite some time, and it was like a big thing, there is a lot of press that talk about games that join Game Pass and so on. So we had another spike in sales. More press was talking about it, about 4-year-old game. Pretty nice. Bundles. Something we also did were bundles. Kind of obvious, but I was surprised that a lot of publishers, games, they don't do it. It doesn't boost like your games a lot, but 3, 5, 6, 7%, it's not nothing. So I would suggest doing this. A no-brainer for us was doing the Flipper bundle that include the base game and all the DLCs. This is our best all-time selling bundle. Then another bundle we do always, it's releasing House Flipper and the most recent DLC. That one also does very good. At some point, I also thought, what if we contact some games that are similar to House Flipper, and we try bundle with them? So we did. We contacted PC Building Simulator. They were open to this collaboration, and it was another DLC that did pretty well. Important thing here is to make sure that the DLC is visible on both Steam pages. So because Steam shows 3 most selling bundles. So if you have more, then it might be not showing. So it's important to discuss this. And also important thing is to make sure that the games are similar, like when it comes to theme, or they are, for example, simulators, and so on. We tried doing this bundle between the Tenants and Hell Architect, and it really didn't sell well. I wonder why, right? Okay, and offline events. Is it worth the hassle? I know that there are people here who were talking about this, so I won't steal their spotlight. But let me tell you what helped answer this question for us. I would try asking yourself why you want to attend this event. Is it because you want to meet the partner you're about to sign a big deal with? Or maybe you want to meet cool people and learn how they work or what they do to grow their games? Or maybe is it because you want to connect with your community? For us, attending PGA in Poznań is exactly this. We don't go there expecting that our sales will go up. We go there because we know that there will come our players, and we can connect with them, we can hear their feedback, and just enjoy ourselves there. So yeah, always ask yourself question why you want to do something, and then when you know, maybe it's worth it. Like the stories when last year there was this girl coming and she said that she played House Flipper on Switch for 2,000 hours. That was like, wow, are you serious? That was really interesting. And then, when we come back to our office and everybody's morale is like really high and they're hyped to do things, it's really worth it for us. So, do you know? I remember when House Flipper, when Epic was coming to the market, and some people were saying that it will be a real competitor for Steam. Recently, I was curious and checked something. Do you know what percentages of our sales come from Steam? Anyone? Apart from my students and Horst. Yes? 98%. Anyone else? Yes? Yeah, it's 97% in our case. So if you think that, why I'm saying this is to know what to prioritize, because to support free PC platforms to release all the DLCs, like all the updates there and so on. It might be a lot of work. You might be a very small team. So be aware of this. Is it worth the hassle to get the 3% from the other two platforms? Or is it worth to release only on Steam? So, takeaways. Know what to get involved with. There are a lot of marketing opportunities you can do. And the super important thing is knowing what's the best for your game. Always ask this yourself. Planning ahead is crucial. So when the whole team knows that we plan to have 2 or 3 updates this year, it's easier to brainstorm ideas or sort out our promo activities. Data-driven decisions. So we always try to support your ideas with data. We're biased creatures, and we're often wrong. So when you see data that tell, yes, it might be worth doing this, or others did it, and it worked for them, it might be easier. Then you might have your decision there. And marketing can be done for $0. Did you know that House Sleeper was released back then in 2018 for $0? Honestly, we spent no money on marketing, so it's possible. I didn't forget about the links, so here are a few really interesting talks from GDC and Digital Dragons even. And yeah, all this wouldn't have happened if it wasn't for the people. People back then, when we released House Sleeper in 2018. Oh, I'm getting emotional. I don't know why, what the fuck. People a year later, when we were releasing Garden DLC, and people now. Yeah, thank you. Does anyone have any question? Yes?
Maybe I would.
Hi, thanks for the talk. That was really great, and congratulations on the success.
Thank you.
I wanted to know when you were talking about the DLCs and how you release them. What kind of marketing do you put behind that to have those spikes? Like in terms of how long are you actually talking about them? Do you have trailers and stuff like that?
Okay, so we always have like the usual marketing beats, so we announced the DLC, we have our announcement trailer, maybe we send press release, but what's the most important thing is we tease the DLC a lot among our players, So for example, we put these devlogs on Steam, as an announcement, and we show on our social media and a screenshot that, I don't know, you can clean gardens, and people are like, what, you can clean gardens? That's really dope. So let me add this DLC to the wishlist. So, or for example, we use Gleam.io, like if people add DLC to your wishlist, and I don't know, like your fan page, they might get House Sleeper, So we were doing this, and we were promoting it, and so on. So our DLC campaign lasted nearly a year, usually.
All right, thanks a lot.
Yeah, and that's why 150,000 wishlist on average for DLCs.
Still have time for a question?
Hi, thank you for your presentation. I wanted to ask about the zero-cost marketing, and if you can share how many wishlists you had on a release date, and how did you arrive at the number?
Can I say this, Chris? Yeah, okay. But I think it's a little bit like with inflation. Back then, House Sleeper had 120,000 wishlists for the release.
Okay.
So it wasn't huge, but yeah, I didn't talk about it. But House Sleeper was top 1 global top sellers for nearly 2 weeks or something. That was what? So it was a combination of influencers, that the game was good, that it hit niche, and so on and so on.
Still have time?
Yeah, if you're shy or something, you can ask me. You can catch me later.
During the break. So thank you, Kuba, for inspiring presentation. Let's give him one more round of applause. Oh no, we have questions.
Okay. Hi, Asha.
Hi. So basically, my question is about community management in terms of like zero-cost marketing. Was it a huge part of the first game for you, like without DLCs? And do you, like in the zero-cost for marketing, does it mean you didn't do trailers, like for example with agencies, and didn't have any costs at all?
No. Like of course we had costs of like our people, you know.
Things.
So for example, we did trailer, but we did everything internally. So this we didn't spend any cost. Like I don't know, we paid $50,000 for super nice trailer. I remember Chris was assembling it with his wife Aga, and that was it.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, we have one more question, maybe. Please.
Hey, I'm an online marketer, and as one, it's very, very hard for me to hear zero-cost marketing.
Yes.
I mean, I can understand the beginning, but once you have a user value and an LTV, why not acquiring users?
Why not acquire any users? Because we didn't have money, honestly.
No,
like
but now you do. Like at some point, you had a lot of money.
No. Now we do spend money on marketing. As you could see, the promo video, the Pornhub ads, and so on. We actively spend. Yes.
Okay, I can sleep tonight. That's what I wanted to hear.
We actively spend money now on marketing, but back then, before the release, we didn't spend any money. So it's possible, yeah.
Okay, now but I believe we're, but very short one.
Paweł Sugalski, very short one. You mentioned Game Pass, the first day data. Could you elaborate on another periods, like 1 week, 1 month, or something more? Because it was interesting.
I don't remember. I would have to check. But we have
definitely above 1 million, yeah?
Yeah, could be. There is a lot of people.
And what first day was 500,000, yeah, you said?
The first day, 500,000 people played Pro Sleeper.
Thanks.
Okay, so now, thank you very much once again.
Thank you very much for coming.